to diabetes, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, blood clots. I mean, all the things you don't want. Look bulky, they look watery. Welcome to episode 2 of the Results Over Everything podcast. I'm your host, RickyResults, author of the best-selling book, Fraudulent Free Fitness. Now, episode 2, season 2 of this podcast, we're going to be focusing on going in depth on each chapter of the book. If you haven't seen episode 1, make sure to see that. That way, this episode makes a lot more sense. It's going to be a sequence we're doing. Each chapter, we're going in depth. Each chapter of the book is going to be an episode of the podcast. Today's episode is episode number 2, so we're going chapter number 2. Chapter number 2 is going to be the big picture. First episode, we talk about the fitness industry and everything that's wrong with it, why there's so many scams and frauds, and why people are not getting in shape. I also share my personal story, how I became a trainer, what motivated me to become an author as well. But today, our big focus is, okay, we expose everything wrong with the fitness industry. We expose all the scams people are falling for, why there's people scamming others, and how social media affects the fitness industry, trainers, influencers, and at the end, you as a consumer, as somebody that's looking to get in shape. Today's episode is the big picture. Okay, now that we know everything that's wrong, okay, what do we actually do to get in shape? Because the thing is, every day, every year, people join the gym, but the sad thing is most people never get to their goal. And it's not because they don't want to. It's not because they're not willing to put in the work. I always tell my clients, there's only 3 reasons you don't get to your goals. There's only 3 reasons you don't see results. 1, you're not clear on your goal. You don't even know what you want. 2 is you don't know what to do or how to do it. And 3 is you don't do it. You don't do what you're supposed to actually do. The purpose of this episode specifically is to paint the full picture, because when it comes to training, there's 3 main phases of training. As you can see, I wrote them down on my whiteboard. These are the 3 main phases of training. If you're somebody that is completely new to training, you've never worked out, you're not going to be able to start training at the intensity as someone like me who's been working out for years. If you're somebody that used to be an athlete, you were working out consistently, you play a sport, and life happened, you took some time off, you had kids, you got busy with work, and you haven't been training for a while, a few months or a year or 2, you're not going to be able to come back and train at the same intensity you were before you took the time off. So first, we need to get your muscles conditioned and get your endurance up. So that's the endurance and conditioning phase. The endurance and conditioning phase could last anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks, but should not be more than 10 weeks. During this first phase, the main purpose of this phase is to get your endurance up. And there's 2 types of endurance. There's your cardiovascular endurance and there's your muscular endurance. Cardiovascular endurance means, can you walk for 10 minutes without getting tired? Can you run for 20 minutes? Can you ride a bike for 30 minutes without being out of breath? Like, what's your cardio at? Muscular endurance means, okay, some people might be strong, but it doesn't matter if you're only strong for a few exercises and then you fatigue. Muscular endurance is, okay, how long can your muscles actually be strong for? Because you need to be strong for a whole workout, full day if needed. So it's just getting your muscles used to being trained. Now, most people that join the gym are like 90% of people that join the gym, they're trying to lose weight, lose body fat. That's the most common goal. The mistake most people make is they're trying to lose fat, but they're training too much like a bodybuilder. They're doing too much strength and hypertrophy. And even though they might be doing this, they're not even doing this one right. So because here's the thing, the way you train here is completely different than you train here, and it's completely different than the way you train here. Now, most people are trying to do this, but they're doing too much of this. Some people are trying to do this. They're trying to be stronger and build lean muscle mass. That's what hypertrophy means. But they haven't even mastered this. Because During the endurance and conditioning phase, we also get the chance to work on any correctional exercises, any imbalances, any limiting range of motion, or any injuries. We're simply teaching your body how to move properly. There's certain things your body is supposed to be able to do. There's certain movements your body is supposed to be able to do. I'll call it the 6 fundamental movements, which is your squat, your lunge, your hinge, your push, your pull, and your carry. Because if you think about it, all the equipment in the gym, whether it's dumbbells, kettlebells, barbells, machines, bands, cables, you're going to be doing an exercise which is a variation of those 6 movements. So if you master the 6 movements first, everything else becomes so much easier to do. The movement is a squat. An exercise is a barbell squat, a jump squat. It's just a variation of the movement. But if you haven't mastered the movement, it doesn't make sense why you should add weight, why you should do it faster, why you should add more resistance. And that's literally the mistake I see most of the time. Most people, when they squat, they don't even get to full depth. It's either because they have stiff hips, a weak lower back, weak core, they're not even engaging in glutes and hamstrings. Most people when they squat, their heels turn in, their knees go forward too much, their heels lift, their back rounds up way too much. A squat is always going to look the same, regardless if you're doing it just body weight or with 200, 300 pounds on a barbell. And the squat, it's always the same movement. And I'll show you, actually I'll insert a clip of me doing a squat with weight. So you see the movement is always the same. It's always the same movement. Now, if you have imbalances, if you have injuries, why would you start training with a lot more weight? First, you need to fix those imbalances. For example, most people, well, I will say most people, but many people, their shoulders are naturally rolled forward. They don't even have good posture. They're normally here. So if you're going to do a barbell bench press and your shoulders are in here, you're going to feel it on your shoulders, elbows, triceps, and maybe a tiny bit in the chest. You need to know how to roll your shoulders back, retract your scapula. So during the endurance and conditioning phase, the goal is get your body moving properly, get your cardiovascular endurance up, and get your muscles used to being trained. Now, depending on the person, this could take anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks, but it should not be more than 10 weeks. If you're an athlete that used to play sports, you're used to training at higher intensity, you took some time off, once you get back into it, you're going to get into it a little bit faster than someone that hasn't trained at all. The first training session that I have with all of my clients, my main goal is simply to understand where we're starting out with. Because once I know where your endurance is, where your strength is, and where your mobility is, now I could start programming the workouts for the days you're not with me and program the workouts for the days you are with me. And the thing is, most people just buy a routine online, and doesn't even take in consideration what their limitations are, what their fitness levels are, what they are able and are not able to do, if they have any injuries, and then they wonder why they don't see results. Now, I know I just mentioned a bunch of different training concepts, for example, limiting range of motion, imbalances, injuries. And if you do have those things and you want to learn what to do for it, make sure you subscribe to the podcast, but also to my other YouTube channel, RickyResults, because on the RickyResults channel, I actually show you different exercises, different routines, different workout examples. The podcast is more about helping you get different results when it comes to your fitness, finances, family, and faith. So the podcast is more like a conversation I'm having with you, helping you, guide you through the process. Once you actually want to get your hands on, start actually implementing it when it comes to fitness, the RickyResults is a lot more practical when it comes to that. Now, once you got your body moving better, you got your muscles used to being trained, you don't have those pains you used to have. Okay, now you're moving better. Okay, now you decide what your main focus is. Do you focus on fat loss or you focus on strength and hypertrophy? Again, strength is getting stronger. Hypertrophy is building lean muscle mass. Some people want to do this, strength and hypertrophy, but sometimes I recommend for them to get lean first. Because here's the thing, when it comes to body fat, there's a certain body fat percentage you're supposed to be with to be quote unquote healthy for longevity reasons or health reasons. If you're somebody that's a guy, that's a man, ideally you want to be 12 to 18% body fat. Now 12 to 18 means that percentage of your total weight. And let's say you're 200 pounds. 12 to 18% of that is fat. That's a nice healthy range. Now if you're 200 pounds but you're 35% body fat, then yeah, you should definitely not go trying to build more strength and muscle. Because here's the thing, and by the way, for females, your body is built a little bit different. Your body was literally made to have a baby, so you will naturally hold on to more body fat. A healthy body fat for females is anywhere in the high teens, 17, 18, 19%. So about the mid 20s, 21, 22, but ideally no more than 25, 27%. And by the way, all of this that I'm talking about, again, it's on the book. The purpose of this is simply to give you a different perspective, help you understand things from a different angle. So if you haven't read my book, make sure you go to book.RickyResults.com to download your free copy. Or if you'd rather get a physical copy or you'd rather listen to it, you can also do so on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Audible, Kindle. But for females, once you start to go above 30%, and for men, once you go mid-20s and above, you should definitely consider bringing it down just for health reasons. Once you start to go above that percentage, now you're prone to diabetes, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, blood clots. I mean, all the things you don't want. So being in a leaner body fat, yes, it's good to look good. It's going to help you feel better, but it's also going to prevent all the diseases that come with being obesity. So again, if you're somebody that's starting out, you're new to the gym, or you're just getting back into working out, and you're outside what's considered a healthy body fat, then yeah, you should definitely bring it down first before trying to fully focus on building more strength and muscle. Now, how long will it take for you to lose the fat that you want to lose? Well, that depends how far you are from your ideal body fat. Some people have 5 pounds to lose, some have 10, 15, 50, 100 pounds. On average, a person could lose 1 to 3% of their total weight in the form of fat. Now, that doesn't mean 1 to 3% body fat. That means of your total weight, you could lose 1 to 3% of your total weight in the form of fat. So let's take an example. Let's say you're a female. You're 180 pounds and you're 5'3". Now, if you're 180 pounds and let's say you're 35% body fat. Yeah, so if you're 180 and you have 35% body fat, you have about 63 total pounds of fat. Now again, if you're a female, ideally you want to be in the high teens, low 20s body fat. So if you're 35 right now, the first goal is get you under 30 and then to the mid 20s. So let's say your goal is to get to 25%. If right now your body fat was 25%, you will only have about 45 pounds of fat. So right there we did the math. You went from 63 pounds of fat to 45. That's almost 20 pounds. So 15 to 20 pounds of fat is recommended for you to lose to get you to a healthy body fat. Now, how long will that take? And again, if you're a guy, you could simply do the same math for your numbers. How long will it take for you to lose those 15 to 20 pounds of fat? Well, again, you simply do 180 times 0.01, that's 1%. So you can lose anywhere from 1.8 pounds of fat up to 5.4, 5.5 pounds of fat every 4 to 6 weeks. On average, you could lose 1 to 3% of your total weight in a form of fat. So if you're 180 pounds, 1% of that is about 1.5 pounds, 3% of that is about 5.5 pounds. So that right there is your answer. If you're losing 5 pounds of fat every month, well, that's 3 months. If you're losing only 2 pounds, a pound and a half every 4 to 6 weeks, well, that's more like 12 months. Now, you could lose those same 15 to 20 pounds as soon as 3 months, or it could take you 12 months. Now, what's the difference? How can we make it be closer to 3 months instead of a whole year? One, make sure you follow your workout routine, make sure you're eating well, and you're being consistent. Like, all my clients, I give them the right plan that they need to follow. I show them how to start eating better, what are the right habits to pick up. But if you only follow the plan 50-60% of the time, well, obviously you're not going to get as good or as fast of results as someone that's following the same plan really closely, 85%, 90% to the T. So at that point is, if you have the right plan and you have everything in your disposal, it's just, okay, how closely do you stick to the plan? I'm just showing you the best case scenario, what's realistic, and what's the one you should definitely do. Because most people, they've been trying to lose the same 10, 15 pounds for years. And nobody ever told them this. So, good thing you're here. We're going to get your results, because now you're part of Team Results. Now, the main goal when losing fat is to not lose muscle. And that's a mistake most people make, especially females. A lot of females, they're a lot more scared to do weights because they're intimidated, or they have a lot of different misconceptions that they're going to look bulky, they look manly. It's getting a lot more common now for females to train with weights because of Instagram and things like that. So that's a good benefit of social media. Now, the mistake most people make when building muscle and building strength is that they gain too much fat in the process. For every pound of muscle they build a pound of fat. For every pound of muscle they build half a pound of fat. For every 10 pounds of muscle that you gain, you should not gain more than a pound or two of fat. That way, your percent body fat doesn't skyrocket. Most people trying to build strength and muscle, they just get bloated, they look bulky, they look watery. And many people that are trying to lose fat, they don't lose weight. But if they do lose weight, they lose too much muscle in the process as well. Now, the thing is, all of these phases, they go together. When we're working on your endurance and conditioning phase, guess what? You're going to start to burn calories you weren't burning before. If in the process you lose a pound, 2 pounds, 5 pounds of fat, that's great. That's just a bonus. That's just a bonus of moving more. That's just a benefit of being more active. What I care about as a trainer, and what you should care about, is moving your body better, getting your muscles used to being trained, and getting your endurance up so you don't get tired fast. As a bonus, as a benefit, you're probably going to lose some fat in the process, which is great. During the fat loss phase, the goal is to not lose muscle. And guess what? We're still going to be doing some type of resistance training, whether it's dumbbells, kettlebells, barbells, machines. If in the process you gain a pound, 2 or 5 pounds of muscle, that's great. That's just a bonus. The goal is to not lose muscle. So even if, let's say, we lost 20 pounds of fat and we lost, let's say, 3 pounds of muscle, that's still a win. Because most people, they don't lose the fat. And then two, if the little fat they lose way too much muscle. This is why, for all my clients, I always do progress check-ins. To see how your body is responding, to see how your body is reacting to the training. Because if we had 2-3 months of good fat loss, we lost 3 pounds, 5 pounds, 3 pounds of fat, and then we didn't lose any muscle, which is great. Maybe we gain a pound or 2 in muscle, and then the next month we lost only a pound of fat and we lost 3 pounds of muscle. That right there is a big outlier. That right there tells me, okay, we didn't follow the routine, we didn't eat enough protein, or something went wrong. And that gives us a chance to sit down, take a look at what happened, and make the right adjustments. But most people just show up at the gym and they do random things. Today I'm tired, I don't feel like training legs, let me just do chest. Well, I don't feel like working out, let me just do cardio. I mean, it's better than nothing. But if you have a plan, and once you got to the gym, you don't leave the gym until you finish that plan. And again, some days you will be tired, some days you're not going to be as motivated. You still need to execute on what the plan is. And once we get you lean, once the body fat is not the focus, now we go into building strength and muscle. Now this phase is more about one, maintaining your new weight, maintaining your new body fat, but also having fun with it. Now you've put in a lot of work for the past couple months. You've improved your mobility, your endurance is much better, you're leaner. Now the full focus is strength and hypertrophy, getting stronger, building lean muscle mass. Now, on average, a person can build 1 pound of muscle every 4 to 6 weeks. So 1 pound of muscle every month. That's on average. If you're training properly, you're recovering well, you're eating enough, you have the right plan, then you're not average. The average person has no clue what they're doing. So if you have the right plan, you're eating well, you're recovering well, you're not average. You're literally in the probably the 10% of population, probably the 1% of people who actually get results. Welcome to the 1%. Welcome to team results. So your results are obviously going to be better. They're going to be a lot more efficient. They're going to be a lot better. Now here, the training changes. During the endurance and conditioning phase, we're going to be doing a lot more full body functional movements. We're probably going to have 15 to 20 rep range, 2 to 3 different exercises per muscle, and maybe a little bit cardio at the end. Now, during the fallout phase, we're going to do a lot more HIIT workouts, high intensity interval trainings. What the goal is burn as many calories per workout, but still get enough resistance training in a week so we don't lose strength, we don't lose muscle. Now, the strength hypertrophy training, the goal is build muscle, keep the fat low, not let it come up at a fast rate. Here, our rep range is anywhere from 4 to 6, no more than 10 reps. We're going to go heavier. We're going to test our limits. We're going to give the body longer time to recover between exercises and in between training sessions. Here, the strength hypertrophy phase, now we're splitting muscle groups. We're doing back, arms, and shoulders. We're doing legs and core. We're doing chest, shoulders, arms, or upper body, lower body, rest, upper body, lower body, rest, depending what's the best split for your schedule, your lifestyle, and again, what you're capable of. Now, the one thing to keep in mind is regardless of which phase you're at, 3 things you should always train is your strength, endurance, and mobility. If you really neglect any of those, it will affect the other things. When we're building strength and muscle, if you neglect your mobility, when your hips are going to start to get tight, your shoulders are going to get stiff. So now your chances of injuries, they increase. During the phallus phase, if we neglect resistance training, when you're going to lose strength, you're going to lose muscle. During the endurance conditioning phase, if we neglect all the other ones, strength, endurance, mobility, again, you're not going to move better. All of these phases that go together is simply how much of each do we do. How much endurance do we do in this phase? How much strength, how much mobility we do in this phase? How much is in this phase? How much is in this phase? Those are the only variables that change. How much cardio we do, how much strength we do, how much core we do. Those are the variables that change. How many reps we do, how much weight, how much rest. And these are things people never even take in consideration. And then they wonder whether they don't see results. So this is a big picture. Because here's the thing. If you have a goal in mind, you want to be 15, 20 pounds lighter, you want to move better, first you need to know what's ahead of you, what's the path. This process, at this point, I've explained to literally 100 people, probably in the thousands of that. There's not a single person that I've explained this process to that hasn't worked for when they follow the plan. If you ever train with me, if there's anybody that trains with me and they don't see results, there's only one reason why. They didn't do what I told them. Plain and simple. Because literally, this is not the lottery. You're not picking a number and hoping you win. No, this is, okay, you want to be here, this is the path. If you steer away from it, then you're not going to get there. You stick to the plan, you stay consistent, you execute what you're supposed to do. It's literally guaranteed to work. Now, that's the big picture. That's the big picture of what your training will look like for the next couple months, next year or two. Now, before we go in depth into each phase, because right now that was just a quick overview. Before we decide where to start, before we decide which phase to begin with and which one to move forward, first we need to get really, really clear on our goals. Get really clear on exactly why we want to do this. Get really, really clear on what a successful fitness journey will look like for you. And that will be our next episode. Alright, chapter 3 of my book, I'm going to introduce you to the Fitness Genie. The Fitness Genie is going to help you set the right goals, start to build the right mindset and habits, and we're going to get a little bit uncomfortable. We're going to be confronting ourselves. Because here's the thing, if you're somebody that's looking up videos about how to gain shape, if you're doing research on what to do to lose fat, to build muscle, chances are this might not be the first time you try to gain shape. Now, sometimes we need to take the time to confront ourselves and be real with ourselves of why we're not gaining shape. Most of the time, people have fear of success or fear of failure. So you need to confront yourself on what are the things you're not doing, the things you know you should be doing and you're not doing, and really write it down. Write down all the good things that are affecting your life, all the bad things that are preventing you from reaching your full potential, and then set a plan to get there. So next episode, we're going to go over setting clear goals, building the right habits, building the right mindset, and how to build consistency. I'm RickyResults, author of the best-selling book, Fraudulent Free Fitness. I'll see you on episode 3, chapter 3 of my book. Until then, if you found value, if you learned something new today, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel, because if you follow along and you apply what you learn, in a year, 2 years from now, 6 months from now, you will see results. Again, I'm RickyResults. Make sure to subscribe. Check out my Instagram at RickyResults. If you have any questions or any comments, leave them below. I'll see you on the next episode.